Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another Premier Draft of the Artifact Remix format. Really cool set that's just a combination of all the best Artifact build-arounds on the entirety of Arena. So pretty spicy stuff available. We're going to go for another really sweet, really unique build-around today. We've got Dance of the Manse as our rare. This is white, a blue, and X to return up to X artifact and or non-aura enchantments with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4s in addition to their other types. So you have to make it to 8 mana, but if you can make it to 8 mana and you have a bunch of random artifacts in your grave, you can pick up 6 of them as 4/4s to beat your opponent's face and immediately win the game. So a fun, really cool build around, as is Fleeting Memories. We did a lot of kills with Fleeting Memories in yesterday's draft, so highly recommend that if you're interested. But because we literally just did that yesterday, let's go for a different build around that looks really spicy potentially and grab this Dance of the Manse. And if we're trying to get to a big 8 mana win condition, one of the best ways to ramp into that is going to be little cards like Ornithopter of Paradise that work as mana ramp off of just a 2-drop play. This can pick up artifact creatures from your grave and turn them into 4/4s later, so even just 2 mana artifact creatures are fine with it. I'm going to go with the Ornithopter of Paradise here and get ramping into it. Zabaz is a pretty reasonable card too. If you draft a bunch of modular cards, you can add to the +1/+1 counters on them. Well, that's about all it does, but it is fun for that deck. I think I'm going all in on Dance of the Manse. Let's get the ramp up into it here. Pick 3, we've got a Candy Trail, which is a nice cheap artifact that we can get into the grave pretty easily with its own sack ability, but there's also an Akin Siren for just a cheap artifact creature. This is a great one to reanimate with Dance of the Manse, making it a 4/4 Flying Vigilance is way better than the initial stats. Cohort is a really good card as well, and it's another artifact. Just the value of getting 2 bodies off 1 creature is pretty good, especially when you can unearth it and get another soldier out of it later, but I think Akin Siren just makes a ton of sense here. And we're going to draft artifacts real highly. Pick 4, Captain Storm is incredibly tempting for an aggressive blue-red pirate kind of artifact build. You just draft a ton of artifacts and get a bunch of +1/+1 counters with this thing. Also another Cohort here, pick 4. This is a really flexible card too, because it only needs the 1 white mana for the unearth, and you don't even have to unearth it for it to be a decent deal. Really, really excellent pack. We could splash in Dance of the Manse, because we're not going to cast it until we have 8 mana total. So if we don't need a single white pip until 8 mana, it's a pretty easy splash. So let's take Captain Storm, maybe blue-red at the core of the deck, splashing in a little white, because Akin Siren does happen to be a pirate, which means it synergizes perfectly with Captain Storm. If you can put a bunch of +1/+1 counters onto a flying vigilant threat, that is a great place to put them. For pick 5, there's not a ton in here. I think Eye of Malcator looks pretty reasonable for this aggressive blue-based artifact deck. Pick 6, we could take Metallic Rebuke, which can go into our deck if we're blue-red or blue-white. Surgical Skull Bomb can either way. Rebuke is deceptively cheap in this format. It's really easy to have like a clue token or a food token or something lying around to make this just like a 1 mana counterspell. So I think Rebuke's a lot better than it looks, but Skull Bomb is just so perfect with Dance of the Manse because it's guaranteeing we're getting another artifact in our grave that I think I'm going to go for it here. Actually, Chrome Courier is pretty perfect with it as well, because it can self-mill a little bit with its card draw ability, plus it's just going to chump block anyway. You know what, I'm actually going to go Chrome Courier, but I really want to take one of the more synergistic Dance of the Manse kind of cards over the very solid counterspell there. Pick 7, pretty easy Mirror Enforcer. There is the option of taking Batter Fist and going more pure blue-red aggro stuff alongside Captain Storm. That would be a great card, but we're going to draft as many artifacts and artifact creatures as possible, so I think Mirror Enforcer should be an incredibly cheap 4/4 most of the time. Pick 8, Renegade Map works with Dance of the Manse, and it helps fix if we splash either way around, so that's kind of cool. Chrome Prowler cool as well, just another artifact creature. Pick 9, another Chrome Courier. This would be a draft pod you could absolutely mill people out with Fleeting Memories if that's going to wheel all the way around the draft pod. We saw in our last draft this is actually a super viable win condition. There's tons of ways to investigate in blue and green and white in this format, but primarily in blue and green. Pick 10, Mearsire is a good early blocker. Just chump with that immediately to get it in your graveyard and get another chumper. So that's fine with Dance of the Manse. Prototype can ramp up as a mana rock, or if we top deck it later, we can channel it as removal, and when we channel it as a removal spell, it's also going to sit in our grave for Dance of the Manse, so seems synergistic. Feels like almost everything works with Dance of the Manse on color in this set. Another Moonsnare prototype, or our first Chrome Prowler. I'm actually going to try out these 1-mana rocks. They should be pretty easy to tap an untapped artifact you control. Get your colorless mana pretty frequently. I mean, we're trying to hit an 8-drop, so we can absolutely use mana rocks. Here's another card that might be pretty good in this set, Traxos. It is a 4-mana 7/7 trample, but it hits the board tapped, and it doesn't untap in your untap step. In order to keep untapping it, you have to keep casting historic spells, but artifacts are historic spells, and we only have 2 cards so far that aren't artifacts, and that's Captain Storm and Dance of the Manse. Every single other card we drafted is a historic spell. Even Captain Storm actually is legendary, so that's historic as well. Historic is artifacts, legendaries, and sagas, so I think Traxos looks very fine in this deck. We will absolutely take them. Pack 2, pick 2. Well, here's another card that looks really fine for the deck. Unctus is pretty fantastic when basically all your creatures are artifact creatures. It's going to give all the artifact creatures +1/+1, and whenever one of our blue creatures becomes tapped, we get to draw a card and discard a card. That is yet another way to fill the grave before the Dance of the Manse. Unctus looks perfect. Pick 3, Gearseeker Serpent's another card that looks perfect. It's not an artifact creature, so that is a little awkward, but it's really easy for this to be 4-mana 5/6, and if it's any cheaper than a 4-mana 5/6, that's where it just becomes completely absurd. This format hasn't been around that long, and I've already cast several 2-mana 5/6 Gearseeker Serpents. Card is busted. Pick number 4, Hard Evidence is a very good early game value play, but another Ornithopter of Paradise to ramp up makes a ton of sense because it's ramping up and it's fixing for the Captain Storm splash here. So I think it just hits too many synergies that we want to go for this over Hard Evidence, because the other thing that's a little awkward about the Hard Evidence is it doesn't end up in the grave for the Dance of the Manse. Well, it does, but it's a sorcery in the grave, not an artifact in the grave, so take the Ornithopter on that one. Pick 5, another Oaken Siren, definitely. Well, it is competing with an Ornithopter of Paradise, but the Flying Vigilance is just so good. The only thing it can't help pay for is the Dance of the Manse itself. But being able to actually chip in for damage, being the perfect card to put Captain Storm's +1/+1 counters on is just a huge deal. 3-bit Inspector is also just an incredible value play. That would be a perfectly reasonable option. All 3 of these looking excellent. Could even splash in a Welding Sparks just because we don't have like any removal right now. Outside of bounce spells, we have 3 bounce spells, 2 prototypes, and I guess that's it. I thought I took the Skull Bomb. I guess I didn't. We've got 2 prototypes, so we've got 2 bounce spells. Pick 6. This is... Well, now we could take the Skull Bomb, I guess. Or we could take another prototype. Again, because it ramps into the 8-drop Dance of the Manse. But it's probably decent to have cards that are good in other positions. Instead of prototype basically only ramping for us. Yeah, we could have been Fleeting Memories Mill. That would have been pretty fun, but I guess we could Fleeting Memories ourselves to fill the grave for the Dance of the Manse, but I don't think that's going to be where it's at. Let's take the Alloy Mirror for more ramp. It's fine. Pick 8 can grab another Pirate that also stuns and keeps us alive. Could take Research Desk for card draw, Bridge for fixing, or Voltage Surge off the splash for a little bit of actual hard removal, something that actually puts the threat in the grave. I'm going to take the Voltage Surge here. I think our mana base is good enough. We got 2 Ornithopters of Paradise and an Alloy Mirror and a Renegade map. This looks like a reasonable splash to get some off-color removal. Now we can take Secrets of the Key for card draw. I'm not going to main deck Defabricate, I think. I will play a Palladium Mirror. It's a huge ramp for Dance the Manse. 2 mana off the 1 card. And Hard Evidence goes criminally late, but I guess Evolving Adaptive does too. Wow. This thing is insane for any green deck that's just trying to beat down. Ooh. Look who it is. We have mostly artifact spells here, so this is going to make everything cheaper. It's basically impossible that we're ever going to meld this because we don't have the Might Stone and Weak Stone. Even if we did, it's really unlikely to draw both at the same time, but making all our artifacts cost 1 less, making our Dance the Manse cost 1 less, it's not bad at all for 3 mana 2/4. Might be a little safer, a little stronger to take Patchwork Automaton because it's going to get real big real fast, but Urza is just the coolest stuff, and you have much less opportunities to play with the mythics like Urza than the other cards, so we'll take the Urza. Pick 2, probably safe to take the removal to splash in, but I cannot deny the 2 mana 5/6s. And now we have 2 mana 5/6s, 4 mana 7/7s. We have other ways to win the game. We're not 100% reliant on our Dance the Mance anymore, which is a pretty big deal. Looking at the mana curve, I think this deck could use a Scrapwork cohort very well, but Toolcraft Exemplar probably pretty consistently gets to be a 3/2 first strike for 1 mana. Need 3 or more artifacts on board, so that is really efficient. I really love the cohort for buying us time, cluttering up the board, and being another artifact spell instead of yet another non-artifact. This might be wrong. The raw efficiency on Exemplar is pretty huge, but the flexibility on that cohort is excellent. Playing the aggressive or the defensive really, really well. Archaeum Ender looks like a great value play, but I really want to clutter up the board some more to stall things out a bit, buy us some time, or just like get 2 artifacts on the board off 1 card, get 2 Captain Storm triggers. I think cohort looks just really, really good for this deck. So we'll take another one. Am I low enough on removal to play 1 Wanderer's Strike with only 1 card in the entire deck that puts counters onto the board? So this is basically not proliferating ever. Maybe, because I don't think I need the Eye of Malcator. That's the only other card here. Actually, Ingenious Smith might be a thing. You know what? I'm really not excited about the 5 mana exile, so I guess Ingenious Smith gives us the alternate option. Reveal an artifact from the top 4, put into our hand. Sure. Pick 6, another Chrome Courier looks really good, but Corsair Captain doesn't look terrible. We have like 3 pirates in here. The treasure token it gives us is nice. Yeah, we have exactly 3 pirates. This would be solid too, but I'm going to go for another Chrome Courier for more card draw that can fill the grave at the same time. Pick 7, there's a Staunch Crewmate. That's just a better version of Ingenious Smith. It does the same thing where it looks at the top 4, but this can hit a pirate or an artifact, so it can find Captain Storm. I guess Ingenious Smith can get bigger over time, but Crewmate hits slightly more cards because it also hits Captain Storm. Cold Steel Heart's a very reasonable option for the deck as well, but we did open one up in our initial pack, so it's possible we wheel another. I don't think I want double Palladium Mirror, but it is cute with the 8-drop. Most of our deck's actually pretty cheap, because these Gear Seekers are pretty consistently 2-3 mana. Our curve kind of stops at 4, Enforcer's also pretty cheap, so I'm just going to take the counterspell here. Again, it's really easy to cast this as like a 1-mana counterspell, and as I said before, I'm pretty sure we could just wheel the Cold Steel Heart, and I don't actually know if we want it over the card draw. Probably, because we've got triple Chrome Courier. Yeah, sure. The reason we might not want it is we do have 2 Ornithopters of Paradise, a Renegade Map, an Alloy Mirror, and a Palladium Mirror, but I guess at the very least we can take this and cut like the Alloy Mirror as the slowest ramp we have. Get some more cheap 2-mana ramp instead. We're not going to play any of these. And probably nothing else. Yeah, Board the Weatherlight's cool. Actually, Scrapwork Mutt we can splash in the Unearth easily, so this is a great way to set up your draws. Discard what you don't need, draw something else, and we'll take 1 Archaeum Ender for the value play, since they're going super late in the draft pod. It's going to be a hard one to build, because we have so many excellent options here, but it's going to be a really fun deck, however we do decide to build it. I think I'm just going to go really all in here, because we have artifacts that are massive win conditions like Traxos. We have artifacts that are good amounts of card draw like Chrome Courier and Scrapwork Mutt. I'm going to go all in and try to cut down to like exclusively artifacts, like even cutting like Hard Evidence, even though it's a great card, or Secrets of the Key, even though it's pretty solid. If I can make it so almost every single spell in the deck is an artifact, that can go a really long way towards making this deck super, super consistent. So we're going to go for that. 7 more cuts to go. I like the Crewmate more than the Ingenious Smith, even though over time this will get bigger. It only gets 1 +1/+1 counter a turn, so it does take quite some time to get big. I mean, I guess the question really is, how many pirates are in here that aren't artifacts anyway? And the answer is 1. The only thing that Staunch Crewmate can hit that Ingenious Smith can't is Captain Storm. But Captain Storm is a big deal. I mean, it's possible. We have so many win conditions without the Captain Storm, with these gigantic Serpents, the gigantic Traxos, and the unbeatable Dance of the Mance. maybe we're actually just not splashing. The biggest flaw with not splashing is not having the voltage surge for removal. But like maybe we just don't even do the pirate thing. And we're just a blue-white deck. With Renegade Map, double Ornithopter. I think I'm still going to play like one Mountain and a Voltage Surge, but I guess we don't need that extra win condition. We could just not play the Captain Storm. I guess. Yeah, kind of weird, but I'll do that there. 3 more cuts to go. We have Renegade Map basically being another land, and then 2 prototypes that could add mana, 2 Ornithopter Paradise that could add mana, and a Palladium that could add mana, and a Cold Steel Heart. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana rocks that cost 2 or less, even if you don't count Oaken Siren, since Oaken Siren's only for artifacts, but the majority of our spells are artifacts. This is a lot of mana. We're cutting at least 1 land here, but we do have an 8 mana finisher. But again, as I said before, because of the affinity that Mirror Enforcer has, because of the affinity that Gearseeker Serpent has, our curve really does stop at 4 outside of our 1 8-drop finisher. So, like, we cut 1 land here, but I think we could even cut like 2. I actually already cut 2 lands because I dropped 2 mountains here, so we're at 15 lands on a Renegade map. So it's kind of like 16 lands on all these mana rocks. Okay, I definitely can't cut more lands than that. That is where I'll draw the line. 15 lands here with the Renegade map with the mana rocks. So we do need to find 3 more non-land cards to cut. I think I have enough beef to not need the Eye of Malcator. That's basically only an attacking 4/4. Never does any blocking for us. I think, again, Traxos, Double Gearseeker, Mirror Enforcer, that's plenty beef. We can drop the Eye. 2 more cuts to wrap the deck up. With general unearth value between double cohort and scrapwork mutt, as well as just beef like Traxos, Gearseeker, Serpent stuff, we might not need just late game graveyard recursion value. And that lets us keep the artifact count really high again by cutting a fleshy creature. It's a non-artifact creature. I mean, Archaeomender 100% works in this deck. Like, we play it, pick up an Ornithopter Paradise or an Oaken Siren or something that's died and trade it off. Or maybe we mill something to the Chrome Courier, then pick it up with Archaeomender, but gotta drop something out of here to get down to 40. Technically, you can play more than 40, but you shouldn't. You should try to find the most streamlined build of your deck. I think I am going to drop the Archaeomender. That does make it less likely we get into an awkward position where we, like, pick up our artifacts and just have everything on board when we draw into the Dance of Mance. That way we're definitely keeping them in the grave. We're not picking them up out of the grave. You know, I'll drop the Palladium Mirror as well, because the only thing it's really ramping into is Dance of the Mance. Again, everything else is actually going to be pretty cheap here, just 4 mana. We don't really need the double colorless. It's double colorless energy from Pokemon. If you've ever played the Pokemon trading card game, that is one of the sweetest cards. Double colorless energy. Alright, yeah, let's drop the Palladium Mirror, because there's just not that much top end we're ramping into at 5+, because these are 3-4 mana cards here. And we have plenty of other mana rocks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. We have the Moon Snare prototypes sitting around. I guess we're not actually really producing any clue tokens or treasure tokens or anything, so these Moon Snare prototypes are significantly weaker than I was hoping for. The idea is that you always have random artifacts sitting around, but taking another look at our deck, we kind of don't. We have a bunch of individual artifacts that don't come with a clue or a treasure or anything. The only thing that we might have lying around for the Moonsnare prototypes to actually ramp up is the double cohort, like the soldier tokens there. So on second judgment here, we might actually drop the prototypes, because that's the one way you really get them ticking, you really get them working, is that you don't really have anything that you have to tap to get them going. Like, you don't have to tap an actual, like, 2/1 creature that might be relevant like we would in this deck. Yeah, I actually kind of don't love the prototypes. I might drop those for another land, because then I'd be getting rid of 2 of my mana rocks, so we'd go to 16 lands in Renegade map. And then like we could put the Archaeomender back in or the Staunch Crewmate back in. I think that's actually pretty reasonable. Let's ditch the prototypes. I mean, they're also some of our only interaction, but they're not good interaction when we do channel them later. So let's drop those, put one more land in the deck. What is the split looking like? 11 blue spells, 6 white, 1 red. Yeah, let's go 9, 6, 1. And then, I guess again, just so we never pick anything up out of the grave before we dance the mance, let's just take the crewmate for just immediate 2-for-1 draw something out of the deck value rather than draw something out of the grave value from the Archaeomender. So we will wrap it up. Well, hold on. I could play Captain Storm instead of Staunch Crewmate. That's just spicier. Whatever. Put Captain Storm in off the splash here too. We'll do it. All right, now we will call it a deck here. All right, here we have a look at the final deck list for today, and it is a sweet one. We have a bunch of cheap mana ramp, like double Akin Siren, double Ornithopter of Paradise, and Cold Steel Heart to ramp into some beef in the late game, Mirror Enforcer, and Gear Seeker Serpents that are actually going to be pretty cheap even without the mana ramp, because we've got a lot of artifacts to put on the board to reduce their mana costs. But we've also got a Traxos here for a 7/7 trample. Almost every spell in our deck is historic, because everything is like an artifact or a legendary creature like Urza and Captain Storm. Those will also untap the Traxos. And then at the very, very top of the curve, if we've grinded out a long game and somehow not killed them with Gear Seekers and Traxos and stuff, we've got all these cheap artifact creatures that are trading off in the early game or just chump blocking after giving us some value. Maybe we discard some cards to draw cards off of Unctus or Scrapwork Mutt, so we'll have a pretty big graveyard in the late game so that an 8-mana Dance of the Mance can resurrect every artifact in our graveyard as a 4/4 creature instead of whatever it was before. So a 4/4 Ornithopter of Paradise, a 4/4 Chrome Courier, a 4/4 Akin Siren, or a 4/4 Surgical Skull Bomb or Cold Steel Heart. If somehow the Cold Steel Heart died, the Skull Bomb much more likely to end up in the grave, since we will sack it for value. But yeah, looks like a very sweet, very fun deck that has solid stuff to do all throughout the game. Hopefully it plays out as well in the gameplay as it's playing in my mind, but we'll see soon enough as we head into game number 1. All right, here we are on the play for game number 1. We got Skull Bomb into the Cold Steel Heart for the fixing to get a blue source, or we could start with Ingenious Smith so that every turn we're getting +1/+1 counter on that. That would be reasonable as well, but we need to hit double blue here, so we do want to play the Cold Steel Heart pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm just going to Cold Steel Heart here for the first blue source immediately. There's a turn 2 Staunch Crewmate from our opponent, who is on the same colors as us. It's a Renegade map, so there's the next blue source. It's the board tapped, so we can't get the land off it yet. I can Ingenious Smith first, so I know I get the counter on the Smith here. Find a Traxos or a Chrome Courier as the big options. Got an Unctus and a Gear Seeker already for big threats. I don't know. I kind of want to just still be super scary, though, so I'm going to take Traxos. Put the fear in our opponent's mind here. We're just going to cast a Traxos next turn. Corsair Captain. That's very solid with the crewmate. That's a pirate right there. No trades here. The Ingenious Smith is going to get much bigger later. Okay, let's grab the second blue source because we have 2 double blue cards in the hand. And then we will use it to cast the Traxos, which unfortunately hits the board tapped for now. But we can definitely untap it next turn. I'm going to hold up the Smith as a blocker to keep this Corsair Captain from hitting me. So stopping a couple damage there. Arcanist's Owl, great card draw again. Finds an artifact on the top 4, but they do not find the artifact. So I actually lied. Okay, we've got 5 mana. So I can cast a spell and hold up a Metallic Rebuke. I don't think I want to play Gear Seeker Serpent because I'd like to untap Traxos here, so we just play Unctus, right? Untap Traxos, and Traxos is also an 8/8. Send in the 8/8 here. Seems solid to me. I could play Oaken Siren then post-combat if I don't think I'm going to need to counter something. If it means having an untapped 8/8 immediately, probably don't need to counter anything. Well, no, being able to counter a removal spell would be a really big deal, so I'm just going to hold the mana up. So we know they can't just like disenchant Traxos here. I guess they could, they have enough mana, but if they cast something else beforehand, they can't. They have to pay 3 extra mana for whatever they want to resolve. Alright, they just poke us for 3 in the sky. Traxos, pretty sure can win this race right now, although the Justiciar can be a lot of lifelink. Depending how many artifacts they get to play. Chrome Courier? Am I going to hold up Metallic Rebuke mana next turn? That draws them another card, gains them a little bit of life. I think that's annoying enough to just do this, and I can improvise with Unctus, right? That's an artifact? Yeah, so I get to draw a card, discard a card? Oh, other blue creatures draw me and discard me cards. Well, never mind. Guess I don't get to draw discard there. Alright, find an Ornithopter Paradise. It's another way to untap Traxos. I do have triple blue now, so I can Oaken Siren and Gear Seeker. So we'll do that. Double blocking Genius Smith here, maybe? Clear out a lot of the board. Yep. Slam for 8. Skull Bomb is sorcery speed, so we can't, like, get them off the double block here. Here's the 5/6. Could have paid some life to draw a card, discard a card here. Make this a blue artifact creature, so it triggers the draw discard. That would not have been terrible. Alright, recommission the Corsair Captain, get their treasure back. Triggers the Justiciar, gets a little bit more lifelink. And there's Chrome Courier. There's some life gain here, but they do have to chump attack to get the life gain. You're down to 8. Untap me a Traxos, right? I'll see if I draw something better than Ornithopter Paradise. Land is probably good enough. They're at 8 here. I guess I didn't need the land to use Skull Bomb, but I can Skull Bomb. They have 4 toughness to block trample. If they block all the trample, they take 2, 3, 4, 9 damage. If they block there and then block 3 trample, they take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's lethal. Skull Bomb's lethal. If we bounce any 3 power creature, we just attack with everybody and they're dead. But especially, yeah, I was going to say, especially if I get any more damage from Unctus's abilities. I'm trying to see if there's anywhere to do that. But not really. Because this is already a blue creature and an artifact creature, so it's getting both the buffs. This just isn't an artifact creature, which means I can buff it for the +1/+1 with Unctus's last ability to make this a blue artifact, but it's already getting chump blocked, so it doesn't matter. Chump block there, 5 trample damage +4, 9, which is lethal. Super sweet stuff from the deck for game 1. We'll see if we can keep it up at that pace as we head into game number 2. Here we are now for game 2. Mono blue hand if they kill the Ornithopter Paradise. If they don't kill it, though, it's good. It's so spicy. Okay, well now we're fine. We just don't have the splash color if they kill the Ornithopter. So we are going to immediately go for Captain Storm next turn, so that if anything happens to Ornithopter, we've already gotten the value we needed off of its splash color mana. Alright, we did it. Captain Storm into Oaken Siren, put the counter on the Siren is definitely the play. Boom. Iron Apprentice. Yeah, the +1/+1 counter deck is real gnarly when they have Botanical Brawler. There's the Glorifier. That pops off with Botanical Brawler. We might just be dead real quick. They have established the Splinter Twin combo, which is really just Botanical Brawler with any other counter cards, pretty much. They just immediately get an insanely big Trampler. You gotta have the removal spell for the Brawler, or you're quite dead, and our deck does not really have removal. So we're probably quite dead. It's already 9 damage, turn 4. And all we're drawing are lands. We can see what we get off of Chrome Courier at least. 2 cards deeper here. Gear Seeker. I can play an island, and then I only have 3 artifacts on board right now, so I actually won't be able to cast it. I could cast another Chrome Courier, though. Play an island, blue. 1, 2, 3 artifacts on board. I think I have to just take something I can immediately cast. Awkwardly. Really not sure we can survive this, though. It's a 3 mana 4/4. Something. Yep. Proliferate removal, and we're super dead. Botanical Brawler is dumb. 15 life here. I technically only have to chump one of these. Well, Cohort would be really good if this thing didn't have Trample. Trade, chump. Chump take 5. Barely survive if they have nothing. I guess if their map token hits a +1/+1 counter on Brawler, we're dead. Vorak, oh my lord, they've got more Proliferate. Yeah. You got us. Again, this game was just 100% Botanical Brawler's game. Everything else we've got enough time to deal with because they just don't have Trample. We can grind it out with tons and tons of chumps. Over time, we would have had time to set up the Gear Seeker as well, but Brawler is just the dream card for these Selesnya decks. 1-1 it is, heading into game 3. Here we are for game number 3. Excellent hand on the play here. Probably actually start with Oaken Siren since it can cast basically anything in the hand. And it actually chips in for some damage while it does it. Find a Voltage Surge? Alright, well, can't cast the Voltage Surge with it, but I don't think I'll need to Voltage Surge turn 2 anyway. On our opponent's turn 2, our turn 3. Yeah, they're just playing more tap lands, so we don't need to. Let's Scrapwork Cohort here for all 4 mana. Beautiful. Wide board to make the Gear Seeker super cheap. It's going to be another 2 mana Gear Seeker Serpent, I think. Our opponent is very multicolored, all tap lands from them so far. I could Gear Seeker right now. I can actually Gear Seeker right now while playing Ornithopter of Paradise in the same turn. Yeah. I don't think I can get my 1 Siren damage in here and do that because I really want to attack with Cohort. And if I attack before I do this and then they do trade with Cohort, then Gear Seeker costs too much mana. So just in case they're going to, yeah, and they're going to trade with Cohort. In case they're going to trade with Cohort, I'm going to pre-combat play these so that I know I have the mana for all that. Mirror Enforcer, they've got a single 4/4. There's the Skull Bomb for it. That'd be a little rude. But I don't need to Skull Bomb it because I'm only getting 1 extra point of damage in by doing that. And I can also Voltage Surge it later if I really need to. I could Voltage Surge it without even sacking something because I can sack the Unearthed card. Sure, that's value, right? So, well, I guess the one awkward thing about if I voltage surge sacking cohort is then the cohort doesn't damage the enforcer. Or the cohort doesn't damage their face for 3. So is it worth sacking a soldier to hit them for 3 with this cohort? Probably. And I've got the skull bomb ready for next turn. Scrapwork mutt. And another enforcer. Alright, so we'll bounce this one. Find a chrome courier. It's not bad. I think that's good enough to play instead of poking for 1 more damage. Okay, never mind. We can poke just as hard. Although I can alternatively play cohort instead of courier. Oh right, and this one has vigilance, so I can do both. I can do the 4 mana play here. Yeah, let's do the 4 mana play. Arcbound Tracker, Enforcer, and another Enforcer. Okay. Guess I would have lethaled here if I played Chrome Courier, because 2 flying damage and 5 unblockable damage. Still real close to lethal. But if they do find a way to stabilize from here, that's on me. But it should be real difficult. 2 lethal threats on board. They gotta do some digging the scrapwork mutt. Yeah, plenty of 4/4s here. There's the 0 mana 4/4. Might as well at that point. Yeah, there's the concession. From our opponent, they're just flunging to send a message. We are now 2-1. 2-1, I think. I think our only loss was the Selesnya deck. It's early. Yeah. 2-1, heading into round 4. Alright, here we are for round 4. No white source can be awkward, but if we find the second blue, this Unctus is great. And Oaken Siren actually is the second blue for the Unctus. Yeah, there's only 1 uncastable card here, and we have Scrapwork Mutt to do some digging. Looking for our white source. We've got a good chunk of those, like 8 or 9 or something, because we have like 6 planes and 3 mana rocks that add a mana of any color. Either way, we can just unload all these spells first, so we have plenty of time to find the white source and not lose any tempo. Uh-oh. Mountain turn 1 means they could have the Voltage Surge to immediately shoot the Siren. I'd be a little sad about that. But they don't. They're going to go for Lizard Blades, get their own double striking aggressive damage in here. Unctus it up to hit for more damage. Kaboom. And I can even just tap Oaken Siren during their end step to draw a card and discard a card. Because just whenever it becomes tapped, I draw a card, discard a card. That's worth it here. This hand does not need the 3rd island. Needs to find a white source. So Siren can help dig there, thanks to Unctus. It's Contagious Vorak. They've got nothing to proliferate, but that's still a 2-for-1, a 3/3, and they draw land. So still a great card, even if you don't care about the proliferate. Oaken Siren Unctus is nasty. Ooh, we draw an Urza? 3 mana for Urza, 1 mana for Oaken Siren? Sorry, 1 mana for Scrapwork Mutt? Looks great. Oh no, I don't have the white source yet. I'm a doofus. Do we dig for it with the Siren? I'm going to dig for it with the Siren right now, because we're not going to want to block with it. Well, there it is. It's the Ornithopter Paradise. I've got 4 mana already for this turn, so we can ditch the island. Yeah, to play Ornithopter and Scrapwork Mutt. And I'm not discarding to the Mutt. I could discard Urza, because he doesn't actually do that much, but he's just cool. Come on. Epic Confrontation, kill Unctus. That's a big deal. Unctus was really, really the only thing making our board actually threatening. But the fact that they didn't get to use the removal on the Ornithopter feels pretty nice. That's 8 damage to the face. Let's not. Let's not with that. Alright, well, we got a Chrome Courier over Urza here. Let's poke first. Or do I want a Scrapwork Mutt and Chrome Courier? Guess I can't do both if I ditch this land. Alright, let's just Chrome Courier first. Renegade map for another white source. That's better than the island. Take that. I'm going to keep this island because we've got the Scrapwork Mutt. For another discard and draw. Forak is super scary. Our deck has a decent amount of chump blockers. I'm going to take 6 for this turn. Still at 17. That's still pretty hearty. Earthbound Tracker, probably a second spell to put another counter on it. Menace Double Strike is actually really threatening. That makes it much harder to chump block. Wow. Well, I see how it is, Renegade map. Still just cracking this thing anyway. To thin out another land from the deck. Boop. Boop. Urza doesn't make Scrapwork Mutt any cheaper to unearth. So let's just unearth the Mutt and see what we draw into. Another land. So I could cast Urza here, I can bounce Tracker to get damage in with Mutt and slow down their Menacer there. Slow down their damage on board. Let's do the bounce. Oh wait, no, I still don't get in with Scrapwork Mutt, but I do slow down their board. Might as well send in Mutt. It's gonna die in the end step anyway. Forgot Lizard Blades was secretly a creature under there anyway. Alright, Arcbound Tracker's back. We've got the chump blocks coming now that we've got Scrapwork Cohort at least. I think we're under enough pressure because this Lizard Blades here that we need to like draw into our Dance of the Manse. I can cast Urza and have more than enough mana to play Cohort as well in the same turn. I could Ingenious Smith and still Cohort in the same turn. The only issue with playing Ingenious Smith is if Dance of the Manse is in exactly the top 4 instead of the bottom 16, that's a problem. But it is 3 times as likely to be in the bottom 16 as it is in the top 4. So odds are greater that this actually gets closer to Dance of the Manse than it tucks it to the bottom. Okay, so it gets us closer to Dance of the Manse, and we take a 4/4. Mildly expensive 4/4, but not that bad. I don't think we're playing the 4/4 though. We're playing chump blockers this turn. Boop, boop. Some chumpies. 1 mana off from doing the 4/4 as well here. It's only 2 mana after the cohort. Alright, we're 4 cards closer to Dance of the Manse. If we find it, it's... Okay, it's not insane yet. It's 3 4/4s, one of which is an Unctus. It's probably still the win if we find Dance of the Manse, but especially once I start chump blocking and getting more stuff in my grave, which is happening right now. That is nothing. Urza plus Enforcer. I could unearth the cohort. That's 1 less card to Dance of the Manse with, but a 3/1 attacker is good against this 3/3 blocker. It's going to push more damage in. They're at 11. It's an actual race right now. I can actually play both of these, I think. Because I can Urza, and then Enforcer only costs 1. Yeah, I can play everything. Sick. If I wait 1 turn to attack with Ingenious Smith, then it'll be big enough to attack past Vorak without fearing of trading. If I top deck another artifact. If I just draw a land, it'll still be a 3/3. I think I wait a turn on Ingenious Smith attacks. If they take the Vorak trade, then they do get a clue token, which means they get a 1/1 human from sacking the clue. But they don't want to take the trade since the cohort's going to get exiled in the end step anyway. They're at 6, we're at 11. Anybody's game here. Steelseeker's really good with Ulvenwald Mysteries. Whenever one of their non-token creatures dies, they get a clue token and the Steelseeker triggers. They get to draw land off the top or put the top card in the graveyard if they don't want it. So they get to surveil. 1 card left in their hand here. It is anybody's game. Because we don't know what they've got in hand here. It could be explosive. 2/2 double strike? You can kill either of these, that's fine. I think our game plan is like hit them 3 times in the sky. Ooh, second spell and it's removal, so this is basically impossible for us to block well there. 3/3 double strike plus clear out a blocker. It's huge. Speaking of huge, Gearseeker Serpent is quite large. In fact, Gearseeker Serpent just lethals them next turn if we live. So let's make sure we live, right? Put them to 5. And then have a 5 power unblockable creature at the ready. Holding up every single blocker to make sure we're alive. Yeah, they top deck equipment. That's not enough to kill us. They can't draw any more cards. Unless we kill one of their creatures, then they'll get a clue token. But Steelseeker can only draw lands. So if they hit a non-land card, it has to stay on top or go to the grave. They just get to surveil the non-land card. So we're good. They can't win here. We just keep Gearseeker on board and kill them with it next turn. Go ahead and chump block with some more artifact creatures so that if we draw Dance in the Manse, we can do the thing even though it's unnecessary. It's cool. Oh, this doesn't even have Menace, but it doesn't matter at this point. But that is true. This one is not the menacing attacker. My brain just short-circuited. I feel like our opponent might not know that Gearseeker Serpent can get unblockable. Because they are still definitely thinking here, but boop. Alright, that is 3-1. At least a 50-50 record with this deck no matter what, but it has been super sweet so far, so hopefully we can get a few more wins so that we can play a few more games. We'll see how it all shakes up heading into round number 5. Alright, round number 5 here. I don't think any hand without blue is keepable, which is why we're running 9 islands. This is just a forced mole, sadly. Oh dear. We hit white or red, the hand becomes pretty good. We can cycle the Skull Bomb towards it. This might be a forced mold to 5 though, because if we don't hit any off color or one of our mana rocks, we don't do anything. I guess we got a mold to 5 on this one, I think. Okay, this one, it's a 5 card hand, so it's not good, but when it comes to how Like, when you consider 5-card hands as a whole, it's pretty good for a 5-card hand, I think. Actually, probably have to get rid of Gear Seeker, sadly. I mean, Gear Seeker's what, 5 mana if they don't kill any of our cards? At the maximum. Yeah. I feel like Gear Seeker's probably going to be more expensive than Traxos. Oh no, we drew our 8-drop. I mean, I guess we've got enough artifact creatures that if we just start chumping with Ornithopter and Chrome Courier and stuff, we can do this for like X equals 3 and just pick up a Courier and an Ornithopter. Oh, exile removal. Absolutely devastating, actually. This doesn't have anything to do with artifacts. It exiles a creature or planeswalker. Why is that in the cube? Or whatever you call the remix format. Alright, hopefully find an artifact so that we can play Traxos and then cast an artifact the turn after that. Sick options. Clearly, we take right planes. Very similar to how right Twix is the best Twix. You've seen the commercials, right? Come on in, Oaken Siren. I'm not going to chump block 1 damage with Chrome Courier. This can chump block something bigger later and stop more damage. Ooh, is it actually going to be able to hit them one time? Yeah, they tapped the Oaken Siren, so... Because they have a Flying Vigilant 1-2, I was pretty sure that Chrome Courier was never going to be able to poke them, but maybe it will. Although now I could just keep it untapped to chump block 4 damage off of an Eye of Malcator. That's a terrible draw. Captain Storm, get out of here. We don't have a red source. Metallic Rebuked. Yeah. Oh, Defabricated, so... Even if I had infinite mana up, Traxos gets countered. It's actually worse than a Rebuke, because Traxos goes to exile instead of the grave. What is this anti-Dance of the Manse tech? They've exiled 2 of our cards. I mean, they're only poking us for 1 a turn. Very surprised they didn't get an artifact down to hit us for 4 here. I'll take the 1. So we've got time. Maybe our 5-card hand can start drawing perfectly, and eventually we dance like a madman. Okay, I'm probably supposed to discard Captain Storm, so that we can try to get to 8 mana dance. But I don't even have anything to reanimate with it yet. I'd have 1 Courier eventually. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ditch the land. Well, now we get to stare at each other for a long time. If the game continues at the rate that it has been, and all they can do is poke with an Oaken Siren, because now they can't poke with an Oaken Siren. We keep bouncing off each other. Okay, that speeds up the game. Whirler Rogue not only triggers the Eye of Malcator to get 4 damage in this turn, but it's a 2/2 and 2/1/1 flyer, so it can get damage in there. It can make one of their creatures unblockable every turn, tapping some artifacts. And because it gave them 2 artifacts, they have enough artifacts now to sacrifice Inventor's Fair and search for the best artifact in their whole deck and kill me with that thing. I'm pretty happy to kill a 1/2 with my 1/1. Unless they have a Cogwork Wrestler here, surprise. Don't really have the breathing room to like play around that. You got me. I chumped 1 damage instead of 4, I guess. Got a 5 mana Dance the Manse. I can Dance the Manse a Chrome Courier. Am I that desperate that I have to? I kind of am. At 13 life. They can try to unblockable Eye of Malcator every turn. I really don't want to do it. That feels so bad. I'm 3 turns away from doing it for X equals 6. And if I draw 3 lands in a row to be able to do that, I'm just going to be dead by then anyway. I have to just do it. This is the saddest dance. I wanna just one-time Dance the Manse combo. one time. So clearly that's not going to be this game, so at least if I get to do it in a later game, we'll be fine. They took our mate stone and weak stone. We could have melded Urza, you monster. You monster. This card's actually just insanely good in the format as well. Plenty of artifact spells to spend the mana on. So it is either a draw spell or a removal spell. That's also just a double mana rock fee for the rest of the game. Very, very solid card. It fits into almost every deck in the format. Maybe not like green-red, but pretty much anything else is very happy with that card. Unblockable Eye of Malcator's back at it again. You draw another Cogwork Wrestler off the top. No. Okay. I was going to say, I'm going to double block again. I'm going to say prove it. But they didn't. Didn't send the attack, so. Oh! Prove it. I'll shove Chrome Courier straight in the garbage bin. No. Back and forth and back and forth. Oh, they're just going to give that unblockable too. Try to 2-turn kill us? Yeah. Fair. Fair. I mean, they know I'm going to gain some life here, though, so... Probably takes 2 more hits from this turn. Skull Bomb is not enough. Ornithopter Paradise is nothing. Now we're starting to maybe build up a Dance the Manse grave, but the Dance the Manse is gone, so... RIP there. There actually are, like, no good targets to bounce with Skull Bomb. I can just, like, kill a Thopter, I guess. But there are other creatures, especially Whirler Rogue, have really good entry to the battlefield effects, or are just cheap enough to recast easily. I mean, it cycles itself away, so let's just kill the Thopter. Again, we have to do that at sorcery speed. Well, we found our next 5/6, but I think it's too slow against the Whirler Rogue unblockability. Okay, it is definitely too slow against the Whirler Rogue with a Filigree Attendant on board. That is a huge unblockable swing. I haven't got to play with this card yet, but it looks so awesome. It's like the classic Esper kind of artifact creature that you would find in Shards of Alara. I really love Shards of Alara, colored artifacts. The filigree cards and all that. There's just really, really cool design in that set. I'm kind of nostalgic for it because when I first started playing, the newest set was Alara Reborn, so I really liked the whole Shards of Alara, Conflux Alara Reborn stuff that they had going on. I guess I'll double block to play around a Cogwork Wrestler. They only kill one of these either way. Renegade map. Well, we found the Captain Storm mana, but I think it's too late because of the Filigree Attendant. We shall see. I mean, it's definitely too late. I just don't know if we're, like, dead this turn. We're probably dead this turn. If they play a single artifact, we are. They can just make an unblockable Filigree Attendant and an unblockable Eye of Malcator, and that's 9 damage. But maybe their hand sucks and they can't play a single artifact. If that's the case, they can just sacrifice Inventor's Fair and pick up any cheap artifact, and that'll do it. So yeah, we're dead no matter what, if they see the line. And it's super easy to see the line if they have an artifact in hand. If they don't have one in hand, maybe they forget about Inventor's Fair's ability. Okay, they forgot about Inventor's Fair's ability, or they're playing around Metallic Rebuke here. Or they have a combat trick to kill us with or something. That's always a possibility. But yeah, if they cracked Inventor's Fair to find any cheap artifact, we were dead here. And now we might get one more turn. Not that it matters, they're at 22 and we cannot crack back for 22. Your Seeker Serpent, sure. Unctus. That is ever so slightly closer to cracking back for 22, but it's certainly not there. Well, we'll send the message. We'll make the board as big as we can, send it all in, and then die. Is this sorcery speed to do that thing? Yeah, shoot. I should have done that. To make our Gear Seeker a 6/7, they couldn't just trump with theirs. Again, not that it matters. We still just die, but send a bigger message. Worth sending in the bigger message. Making sure all of these get the +1/+1 from Unctus. Yeah! We get to just self-mill. Let's go. I guess I should not have played land for turn. Forgot about Unctus's ability. No blocks on the Gear Seeker. Interesting. I have 0 cards in hand. Maybe they're killing it with removal? Yeah. Moon Snare prototype. You got me. Now we get to send the biggest message of all. We get to pay 2 life. All right. We are 3-2, unfortunately, after some rough moles and a really spooky rollout from our opponent with some unblockable stuff. So 3-2, heading into round 6. Hopefully, now I've really got my fingers crossed, because if we lose next round, we don't get to play anymore with this deck. If we can win a couple more games just to be able to play 2 or 3 more rounds instead of just 1 more round, I'd be pretty happy. But I mean, honestly, 3-3 run wouldn't be horrific. Still have a really great win rate so far in these remix drafts in general, but I'm going to play my heart out here because I'd love to play some more games with this deck, so hopefully we can hit a little bit of a win streak here to keep the ball rolling. All right, here we are on the play. 5 mana sources in the opener can easily get flooded, and we don't have a lot of artifacts to make the Gear Seeker cheaper or trigger the Captain Storm. Actually, a lot more awkward than it looks, and it could very well be worth a mulligan. We do have to draw kind of perfectly. I think I am going to take the mull here. Close, but yeah, we will mull that. This is definitely better. Wow, this one is great. We can even ditch the Ornithopter. The mana is so good. Well, I ditched the Ornithopter. I don't have double blue for Unctus. I can ditch the Mountain here. We're really hoping to still top deck a land so that I can curve out Ingenious Smith first, but if I don't, we can still just Ornithopter turn 2 to get Unctus down. And that's fine. Or I could just play off curve and play Ingenious first still, just so it is as beefy as possible. Perfect draw. Oh my god. So we do get to Ingenious first. Find, whew, that was close to missing, but we did find a Scrapwork cohort. We'll absolutely take it. There's Upriser Renegade. Here's another mana so we can curve into the Scrapwork cohort with an Unctus already on board to buff it. Let's go. We're on the aggressive here, so I'm absolutely paying 2 life to get in for the turn. Find a Traxos. Ooh, get out of here, Ornithopter. We are just drawing all the lands and curving out like no one's business. Playing against Gruul, but we're on the play, so we're the aggro. Second Upriser Renegade. Okay, things could get real scary if they play the card that puts like a +1/+1 counter on both of these. Then they're both 4/4s. But until then, let's get big in here. Boom. Also, if they're running Sibling Rivalry, that could be a nightmare for us. Untap target creature, gain control of it until end of turn, beat us down with our own Traxos. Oh, they're very multicolored. Mistvault Bridge there. Blue-black duel? Was not expecting that when I saw the Gruul lands up front. But hey, the Upriser Renegades are modified, so we're racing. But let's see them outrace an 8/8, because this thing's going to be untapped all the time. I can't Gear Seeker and play anything else this turn, and I need to play an artifact this turn, so let's just cohort. And spend a blue to buff somebody here. It does mean I'm going to have to mill my top cards here. But it's worth the extra damage, I think. Oh. Next turn's going to be Chrome Courier Gear Seeker. I can't... Okay, they're over. They're like... I mean, what are you even thinking about? I can't win this game, says opponent. You can't possibly lose. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sure, I had fun. I'm pretty sure I had to discard a Gear Seeker here, which is really sad, because I can't play both Gear Seekers in one turn unless I top deck an island. And I really want to play an artifact next turn to untap Traxos if they don't kill it. So being able to play the Courier, untap Traxos, and play Gear Seeker is the perfect turn 5. Or turn 6 at this point. We've already got 5 mana. Yeah, turn 6 was going to be these two together, so unfortunately I have to just mill for Monctus's trigger, but again, it was worth the extra damage to use it. Sad to mill the Gear Seeker, but the curve out was just so insane in the first place. We still find the victory, and it just does not matter. We are 4-2 officially at a positive win rate yet again. Very nice positive win rate with this deck, no matter what happens, but hopefully we can keep winning, because that means we get to keep playing. Once again, still on that razor's edge here, where if we lose a single game, we don't get to play with this deck anymore. All right, on the play with a turn 3 Unctus no matter what, because I can just play Ornithopter turn 2. I guess that's not no matter what. They could kill the Ornithopter, but most likely we've got turn 3 Unctus. And we've got the Unctus into cohort curve out. Unctus gets to buff the 3-1 and the 1-1 soldier, which is real nasty. Plenty of artifacts here. All of these are artifacts to make Gear Seeker cheap. Playing against the black deck, so they could just kill Ornithopter, like, immediately. But now it doesn't matter. Even if they kill Ornithopter, I get to play Unctus next turn, so this might be wrong. But I want to get aggressive, put the power of Scrapwork Mud on board, and I kind of also want to discard Ornithopter Paradise. And just try to top deck land 4 by turn 4 for cohort. Right, because now Ornithopter's not fitting into my curve very well, because I'm just going to play Unctus next turn. And if I'm playing Ornithopter turn 4, it's not even that great. Yeah, if we hit the land, then we're super happy to discard the Ornithopter. The only way I think it goes wrong is if we don't hit a land in the next 3 draw steps, then we're really sad. Well, not 3 draw steps, the next 3 draws. 1 draw off Mutt, and then 2 draw steps. Do I want to draw a card, discard a card to Unctus here? No, I'm keeping all these. And Scrapwork Mutt's already getting the +1/+1, so paying the 2 life and targeting Scrapwork Mutt isn't going to make it 3 toughness to get past Bartolome anyway. It's just going to let me draw a card, discard a card. If it's blue, we get the card draw. If it's an artifact, we get the +1/+1. Ooh, this card is really sweet. This is from some kind of, like, bonus deck thing, and not the main set of Wilds of Eldraine, so we haven't really seen this in draft until this format, but every time they sack a food, they get a rat. So with Bartolome, this thing's already like a 7 power creature or something. Like, it just absolutely pops off. Wait, where's the rat? Did they sack the rat to Bartolome when I was talking about its ability? I was going to say, because they sacked the food for sure. I didn't ever see the rat show up. Maybe they just sacked so fast I didn't even notice. Bartolome's scary enough. I think I have to go for the wide board state and not play Traxos yet, because I need to be on blocks here. Yeah. I mean, I could play Traxos and hold Scrapwork Mud up as a trump blocker. But if I play Cohort, it's also going to lead into really cheap Gear Seeker and Enforcer. I can play them both in the same turn, pretty likely. I guess if I top deck a land, I can play them both in the same turn. Okay, not if they kill one of my artifacts. Probably should have sent both in, because I'm not blocking with Unctus. I guess I would block with Unctus if they didn't trade with Confectioner there. I'd block Confectioner with Unctus. Uh-oh. That's only 2 more permanents. Because this only spits out a 1/1 if they pay the mana on it. It doesn't spit out a 1/1 if they sack it. So there's just 2 more permanents. So Bartolome's 8 power now. And 8/7. It's kind of irrelevant at this point. Bartolome is just so big I have to chump it pretty much every turn. I can let it through one more time, but after that, I think I will let it through one more time. Just to keep as many artifacts on board as possible for our affinity cards. Chrome Courier's the draw. Dang. So I can only play 1 spell this turn. Let's just Traxos and hold up blocks. I like our 2/4 attack. We still have like a 2/2 token to trade into Justiciar, or 4/2 that has Unearth to trade into Justiciar. I feel like I send Unctus in. I do kind of feel like I gotta be up on blocks here. I'm gonna play the 5/5. And then we just soldier token the Bartolome. Okay. This Enforcer's just a 4/4. Still good enough to keep Justiciar off of us. Yeah, it's still just going to be soldier token on Bartolome here. Okay, Astronaut's Harvester is super fine. 6 toughness. 7, 8, 9, 10 toughness. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power on our board. Just can't kill it. No attacks here. I think we're getting Bartolome'd. Can hold like everything else off, but just instant speed making this like 10 toughness. 11, 12, 13. 13 toughness available to them. Oh, please tell me they don't have a way to play one more artifact. Just exactly not enough to attack into Gear Seeker Serpent would be so nice. Be 1 power off. Alright, they're 1 power off. Can Unearth Cohort and play Chrome Courier in the same turn, so for mana efficiency, that feels like definitely what we have to do. Gives us the chump we need for Bartolome, and that's the only thing we need to block at this point. Plus, this way we get to Unearth the Cohort before they Harvester Unearth, so before they can exile the Cohort. Although they could Blood Fountain instead, to permanently get them back instead of unearthing. I'm gonna have 2 chump blockers up here. I'm gonna go for this. They need 2 removal spells to kill me with Bartolome. They have to kill the 1/1 and the Courier. I've got the red for Captain Storm, but she doesn't exactly do much without other spells, so we take a Genius Smith, because that's 2 spells for the turn. Really gonna be a really, really close game here. They go for the Unearth. Sure. Got some direct damage coming at us or something? Go down to 4, I think. Okay. Defiant Salvager. Large. It's like a second Bartolome, basically. It's a sorcery speed Bartolome, so weaker. Gear Seeker. They're at 13. They cannot make Salvager big enough to matter on blocks because it's sorcery speed. They don't have creatures in their grave that immediately matter. Or the Blood Fountain because they're not cheap enough. If they top deck removal and I only play one creature, I die if I attack with both of these. But as long as they don't top deck removal, I think if I attack both of these, if I attack with both of these now and then everybody next turn, I can kill them. I feel like that's the best bet. We just need them to not top deck removal. I guess we could see what Ingenious Smith hits, because that is a chump blocker, and I can play Traxos in the same turn, and if I hit something else, that might affect the play. Okay, that's 2 blockers for the turn. So I can hold 3 blockers up to not die to top deck removal. They're at 9. Don't think if they don't top deck removal, we'll lethal them on the next swing. If I don't just play Traxos here. I guess I still won't, right? Because I'd play Traxos, I'd untap Traxos, but they block Traxos with this thing and take 0. Block there, take 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it would be 9 because Ingenious Smith's ability. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's lethal if they don't top deck removal. If they top deck removal, though, we're dead. They make Defiant Salvager 4 power and kill us. So it's all up to their final draw of the game. The Raven Inspector, that's another card towards lethal and another chump blocker. Actually, the fact that it's another chump blocker means it's not lethal. Oh, well, it is lethal. Never mind. If they do that, then they're dead for sure. Oh, wait, no, it's 2 chumps because the puzzle not 2. Yeah, but this is trampling over. They have 3 toughness to stop the trample? That's not enough, is it? If they chump there, take 7, I guess they are still alive. Shoot. Shoot, 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 shoot. Do I only send in Traxos then? Maybe. That can't be right. I can still hold up like 3 chumpers and get a lot of damage in here. I want to play Oaken Siren and a Gear Seeker, or do I want to gain a little life off Chrome Courier? I have a smaller board, but no, I need to hold one of my artifacts to untap Traxos again next turn, so we gotta go Oaken Siren Gear Seeker for the turn. So I know I have an artifact next turn. Okay, they shouldn't be able to kill an artifact here. We can Gear Seeker post-combat. Okay, I do hold up 3 blockers again. I mean, we could just unblockable kill them with a Gear Seeker Serpent next turn. Actually, now that I think of it, I don't think we should have sent in the Serpent. Because Traxos is doing enough damage with Trample, even if they block with the puzzle not 2, that we can just send in an unblockable Gear Seeker next turn anyway. So just in case they have something insane in their deck that's like 2 removal spells off 1 card. Oh, hold up. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. It's actually better to Chrome Courier there. Because it's 2 blockers up instead of just 1, because we just untapped Traxos immediately. I don't know why I didn't register that. We can just untap Traxos post-combat instead of waiting till next turn. That would have been better for sure. Well, I guess it's still arguable though, right? Because if they top deck removal to kill a Gear Seeker Serpent and I didn't play the second one, then we can't lethal them next turn because Traxos is too small to get past Bartolome. So there is still definitely an argument for playing a second Gear Seeker Serpent. So they can't survive with one removal spell. Yeah, one removal spell still doesn't kill us or save them. Because we played the second Serpent. But if we didn't play the second Serpent, one removal spell would at least buy them another turn. If they didn't attack with anybody. Stressful game. Stressful game. This thing came out and just decided to be a 6-power creature on like turn 3 or something. So, pretty sick Aristocrats deck over there. Tons of little artifact tokens to just sack to Bartolome real quick, which makes the deck real powerful against decks without a lot of removal. We do not have a lot of removal. A lot of our decks have shared that. Well, not a lot of our decks. Our last 2 decks, our green-blue deck and then this one, have not had a lot of removal, but our Esper deck had a good chunk. Like Bacon to a Pie and stuff like that, and our Gruul deck had a bunch of burn, I think. But yeah, it seems like there are actually a good amount of low removal decks in the format so that you can have the time to pop off with stuff like Bartolome. So really cool deck from our opponent. Really stressful game of Magic, but by the skin of our teeth, we win that race. We are officially 5-2 in the money out of this draft. No matter what happens from here, super, super happy with that one. Even if we lose the next round, that was 8 games of Magic out of this deck as well, which is almost as many as you can play. 9 is the maximum in a Premier draft, so now I'm happy with anything. Now we got to play tons of games with this deck. We're getting more gems than we paid into it. We're just having a great time as we head into round 8. Well, I did say I really want to actually get to Dance of the Mance combo in one game, and I'm going to take that chance this game. This might be a hand we're supposed to mulligan, because it is very low on plays, because the Dance of the Mance doesn't matter till insanely late. But Chrome Courier gives us some card selection off the draws to hopefully get some plays here, and we'll see how it works out for us. Our opponent is curving out pretty aggressively here, though. 1-drop into 2-drop. The 1-drop, if they proliferate, turns into a 4/4 immediately, which is terrifying. Ooh, Ingenious Smith? I'm not actually ramping with Ornithopter yet, so I think I will play that first. Because we're just playing a 3-drop on turn 3 still, even if I have access to 4 mana. I like Oaken's Siren here, although Scrapwork Mutt works great with Dance of the Mance. These are both really good. I'll take the Oaken's Siren, though. We'll already have plenty to work with the Dance of the Mance. We can chump with Ornithopter, we can chump with Chrome Courier, we can chump with Oaken's Siren. Plenty of stuff. Mishra's Bauble. They get to look at the top card of our deck and draw a card. Tiny bit of information. Okay. More +1/+1 counters, so if any proliferating starts happening, we're going to have issues. So what did they see? Oh, they saw Traxos? Dang it. You weren't supposed to see that. Traxos is a little too slow yet again this game, though. We can't really afford to play that next turn, I think. We need to just play Oaken Siren Ornithopter for now. Take another Chrome Courier over Metallic Rebuke, because a revealed Metallic Rebuke is pretty weak. And I want some more life gain and some more creatures to put on the board immediately, and stuff to trump with into the Dance of the Mance. Take a big hit here, down to 13. Not horrific, because Ingenious Smith is a 3/3 next turn to block a 2/2. Things are only horrific if they proliferate. If our opponent never proliferates, we're chilling. Alright, let's try to double spell here. I think Ornithopter is a little more valuable than Oaken Siren, so we'll play the Oaken Siren first and see if they rebuke. Because they've got the mana to rebuke one of our spells either way. Just holding off the attacks here. We just want to chump block if they proliferate and make the stuff gigantic. Because we do want to fill the grave for Dance the Mance. And not die. Not dying is generally good in Magic. Send in just the adaptive? That is some kind of trick. Hopefully it's not a trick that deals 13. Okay, 2 damage. And then a Steel Seeker. That's it. Okay, I think we've got the time here. We're at 6 out of 8 mana. Chrome Courier can look for another... I could poke for one with the Vigilance, but just in case some really weird trick happens, like Gaia's Gift to give reach and block here, I'm gonna make sure I keep this for the mana. Anyways, what I was saying is something. I actually forgot. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take the land off of Chrome Courier and throw the artifact in the grave. I think I was gonna say something about that. Oh, there's no artifact. Well, I do want the land. I'm happy to hit that. Now we play a Gear Seeker for a big blocker. Probably have the time to play a Traxos now, but I want to play it really safe and have excellent blocks up. I'm gonna still play Gear Seeker. We're hanging out on blocks here, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if Ornithopter's still around, 7 off of the island, 1 mana away from the dance. I gotta fill this grave though, I gotta start chump blocking. So we're going to take any excuse to chump at this point. Although, Renegade Map goes right into the grave. Well, I sent in a 5/6. My blocks are no longer good enough to stop them from attacking, and I might chump. Well, I guess Ingenious Smith is maybe good enough. Just dump the hand onto the board, because if they board wipe us, we have the world's greatest Dance of the Mance. And if they don't board wipe us, they're just going to die before we get to do it. I hope they don't die before we get to Dance of the Mance. Do something, opponent. Just poke them with a stick. Do something. Please draw something decent instead of just 2/2s. Yeah, just awkward draws for our opponent, really. The fact that they had nothing that could actually evolve the adaptive, that's very sad for them. Skyship Plunderer, it's a little bit of something. We've got the 8 mana, I could pick up a single Traxos. Oh no, I can pick up Renegade Map too. Well, we probably take the excuse to do this. Please kill one of my flyers. No. Go to 3, don't kill one of my flyers so I can't dance them. Man, it's this big. Oh, whatever. They're green, blue. There's not possibly a green-blue board wipe, is there? Just do it. I did the thing. See, look. Oh, they come to play tapped? Oh, shoot. I should not have done that. Okay, it doesn't matter. I was gonna say, they have the tiniest chance in the universe now of actually killing me. I forgot both of those come to play tapped. Yeah, Dance of the Mance lets them come into play untapped, but Traxos says it comes to play tapped, and Renegade Map says it comes to play tapped, so that was real risky to have 2 blockers up. But, I mean, we're at 11, and they have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power on board. And we have 2 blockers. They'd have to kill both of our blockers and give +3/+3. Yeah, we were fine. And now I technically cast Dance of the Mance 1 time, but I'm really disappointed in that card. Even in that game, it was completely unnecessary. We just won with everything else. And in every other game, it's just been bad. We have not had the time to get to it. Or we've had to cast it for like 3. Yeah, it is what it is. The deck as itself has been great. The Dance of the Mance, maybe dancing is not what to do. I guess we'll see as we head into the final battle, the final opportunity to dance the Mance all over somebody. Here we are for the final game of Magic with a very reasonable opening hand. Got our early game plays and we've got our win condition. The big old Gear Seeker Serpent. Opponents on green, turn 1 Servant to the Scale. If they're on the green-white +1/+1 counter deck, we could have a real bad time here. We could curve out with some nasty proliferate aggro stuff. Or just +1/+1 counter in general. But for now, our 1/2 holds off the Servant to the Scale. Alright, no longer. Obsessive Skinner makes it a 2/2, and it gets to move both counters around when it dies. Ooh, they're going wide. They're going for proliferate. That scares me. Alright, let's cast 4 mana value worth of cards here for mana efficiency. And then next turn, We definitely can Gear Seeker Serpent. I don't know if I can Gear Seeker and Courier. I guess I can if I top deck a land. I don't know, I can no matter what. I've got 5 mana. So 3 for this and 2 for this. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We're just going to dump the whole hand out. I guess not really, because we're going to draw a card off Courier and we're going to draw a card for turn. So we will refuel. Won't technically drop the whole hand. Oh, hey, Urza. I don't think I should be playing Urza, honestly. Urza hasn't actually done anything. And I kind of said that when I drafted him. He's more like cool and neat than anything. I don't think he's actually that good. And that has held true. So let's see. We need to tap these 3 for Courier and then double blue for Gear Seeker. So let's poke for 1, the free Vigilant damage. Let's make sure Auto Tapper doesn't hose us. Okay, Auto Tapper's gonna hose us. I guess I could technically tap this towards Gear Seeker, but I do need to have an island untapped. Oh, hello. Dance the Manse is so much weaker when it's revealed, and I only have 4 mana towards it. But the other card's a Renegade map, so what are you going to do? Two mana, 5/6. Let's go. Gear Seeker Serpent continuing to be ridiculous. Ooh, speaking of cards that are ridiculous, Tireless Provisioner was one of the best cards in our last deck in our green-blue build with Lotus. So that's pretty sweet. Ooh, 5 mana towards Dance. Urza's actually the 6th mana towards Dance, so Urza's actually doing something. They can double block Gear Seeker with 2 3/3s, so I don't think Gear Seeker gets to poke here. But we can poke with Flyers. Urza. Hello. I will want to Skull Bomb just to have it in my graveyard, but I don't think Skull Bomb's that great right now. It would be fine on Provisioner, but the rest of their creatures have good enter the battlefield effects. I guess Servant doesn't. Just bounce the Servant. We might get to Dance the Manse here, because they've got 1 card left in their hand. I mean, Tireless Provisioner is going to buy them a lot of time with these food tokens as well, so we will need to do something really explosive to kill them. Dance the Manse could be the thing. We've already got the red source for Scrapwork Mutt, thanks to Ornithopter, but also I wouldn't want to unearth it, because I'd want to make it a 4/4 with Dance the Manse. Our opponent is not a deck that can have counter spells. Ooh, 3 mana Traxos. Yeah, let's just get the Skull Bomb into the graveyard and see what we draw, right? It's not actually going to open up any ground attacks, though. Yeah, I still have the 3 mana for Traxos after this. I'll just bounce the Servant. It comes back with only 1 of its counters. It's whatever. We don't have any great targets, but we just want to draw the card and get the artifact in our grave. I cannot cast both of these, but that is fine, because this means I can untap Traxos next turn. And Traxos is pretty fine to trade off, since it's an artifact I could reanimate. However, Traxos gets smaller when I Dance the Manse it, which is actually kind of disappointing. It's funny, though. The Provisioner Seal Seeker combo is pretty big. That could help our opponent try to find some way out of this. Metallic Rebuke can help them not find a way out of this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I still need 2 more mana to make 4/4s with Dance the Manse. Here's 1 more with Ornithopter Paradise, so I just need to top deck 1 more land. Or Mana Rocky creature. Let's let the Scrapwork Mutt die at this point. Because again, top deck land means we do dance next turn. We do that. Do I start ripping the board apart? Let Gear Seeker trade off into 1? I don't think so. Apologies for the large engine here. I don't think so, because just having 1 big unblockable creature if I run out of stuff to do is still good. If I just dump all my mana into making Serpent unblockable on future swings, that'll be perfectly fine. Alright, they're gonna go for the Traxos kill. Well, we'll see how good their combat tricks are. For now, that looks fine to me. It's wiping out a lot of their board. That's pretty good. And they can afford the Metallic Rebuke, so... Alright, I guess I only kill a Vorak, but again, we kind of just want artifacts and graves, so... Sure. Oh, they let Mutt in? That's annoying. They didn't put the Mutt in my grave? Well, they know about Dance the Mance. I keep forgetting this is revealed, so they know to try not to put too many artifacts in our grave. There's no way this Metallic Rebuke is countering anything. They've got 7 mana? 8 after that land? Yeah, that's 1 mana. Well, that is not the Dance the Mance mana. I mean, it is, but it's tapped, so it's not. Hold off Chrome Courier for a chumper here at 17. Yeah. I would be pretty cool with like Scrapwork Mutt dying on the attack and stuff, but now we would have like so much stuff tapped because I have to tap these to get Serpent in that it is kind of sketchy to not hold the blockers up in case of something. Just counterattacks in general. Alright, well, Metallic Rebuke wouldn't do anything there anyway. Well, that's actually another card for Dance the Mance. Oh, let's go. Okay. Never mind. Well, here we go. Now we have Incredible Dance the Mance. Dance the Mance for 6 and win the game. They just killed 2 of our artifact creatures there. Let's go. Oh, it's so perfect that we get to do it in the last game, too. Woo! Do it in the final boss. Boom! Ooh, and we draw a Captain Storm off of the Chrome Courier. I can just trade this Gear Seeker Serpent off at this point. Like, whatever. We have so much stuff. I got a 4/4 Surgical Skull Bomb. What are you going to do about that? 4/4 Renegade map? The dream has been lived. We did it one time in a game where it actually mattered. That was legitimately very impactful, this game. 5 4/4s, 2 of which are flyers, 1 of which is a Vigilant flyer. Let's go. Oh, you're just going to take it? Fair enough. It's still going to take a while to kill them because they have a lifelinking... Well, the lifelink flyer doesn't matter anymore against these 4/4s, but they've got a food token every single turn off Provisioner at the very least. I mean, I guess the board is so big, though, it only takes like 2 more swings to get there. Especially if Ingenious Smith draws anything. So let's untap Traxos with Captain Storm. See if Ingenious Smith gets anywhere. I don't agree with that auto tap, but I have... Oh my god. I was going to say I have Ornithopters of Paradise anyway. Unctus is the Stone Cold Nuts. Boom! Boom! I don't know how I'm supposed to attack, but I no longer care. Because this looks good enough. This looks super nuts. You know what? No 1/3s. No 1/3s. Oh, 0 mana Mirror Enforcer. Goodbye, Metallic Rebuke. They're never going to cast anything expensive enough for you anyway. We're about to play a 0 mana 5/5 Mirror Enforcer and untap Traxos with it. Ooh, that's a pretty good double block for us because we actually get to kill both of those with the Gear Seeker. They really just don't have a lot of good options here. Dance the Mance absolutely bombed them out. Oh, they're dead. All right. That works. Oh, I didn't get to do my 0-mana Mirror Enforcer. Well, we take those. We got to do the thing that we set out to do from pack 1, pick 1 of this draft at least one time. I still think because of all the other times we drew it, it being pretty awkward, it is still the biggest underperformer in the deck because I was really excited about it. I thought it was going to be a sweet like win condition to build around and didn't quite get there. Part of that is because we have so many other ways to win the game. I mean, Unctus, when like all your creatures are artifact creatures, is a lot of damage real quick. So Unctus was a pretty consistent win condition for the deck. But double Gear Seeker Serpent, the fact that there are creatures this big and this cheap at common in this format kind of takes away a little bit from trying to do like the super spicy sweet like rare win cons and stuff. Because it's like, well, I'm just going to kill people with Gear Seekers a lot. But our deck was still really balmy. We got to kill people with Unctus and Traxos and Dance the Mance one time. But Gear Seekers quite often in the middle as well. Yeah, super, super sweet deck. Urza, I wouldn't really call Urza an underperformer because I kind of said when I drafted the Urza, I don't think it's actually the right pick because it's more cute than anything. But as you can see, we had Urza in a lot of hands, and we were just like, I don't think we want to really play Urza until we get some of the other stuff out, which is awkward because the whole point of Urza is to make the other stuff cheaper. So you kind of theoretically want to play Urza first, but because we have affinity on Gear Seekers and Mirror Enforcers, we want to play our artifacts first, or because we have an Ingenious Smith on board, we want to trigger that by playing an artifact, or because we've got Unctus on board, we want to play the artifact creature first. So Urza sitting here being flesh and blood ends up being a little awkward, so... Urza did help cast the Dance the Mance, though, for 8 in that last game, so at least he did that. But the biggest underperformers, I think, are the Mythic and the Rare here, because Urza was awkward multiple times, Dance the Mance was awkward multiple times, but they both did some spicy things. In particular, the Dance the Mance really, really popped off in that final game, which was super fun. So super sweet deck. Really happy to just keep drafting really different archetypes each time. This has been just a really, really fun format, this artifact remix draft thing. So super, super into this, and I'd be very down with them doing this more. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Cube in the world. I do like it for a change of pace a little bit, but I don't get super into it like a lot of people and try to like get to the best builds and everything. So if they alternated between this and Cube for every new set that comes around, like next time they'll bring Cube back, and then the time after that they'll do another remix draft thing, I'd be super cool with it because I think this set has been an absolute banger so far, but I'm also pretty partial. I'm pretty biased here because I love artifact nonsense. But I digress. That is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.